Did you know that a baby can recognize its mother's voice even before being born? It's an incredible fact of nature. Long before a baby opens its eyes to the world, while still safe inside the womb, it becomes familiar with one sound more than any other, the sound of its mother's voice. This connection is not just emotional, it's deeply rooted in medical science. How does this happen? How can a baby, still developing, already know its mother? In this video by MedLifeLink, we're going to explore the fascinating journey of how and when a baby starts hearing, how its tiny brain stores these sounds, and why the mother's voice becomes the very first emotional anchor for a new life. Stick with us as we uncover the science behind this beautiful bond. So, when exactly does a baby's sense of hearing switch on? The development of the hearing system is a gradual process that happens throughout pregnancy. It all starts around the 16th week of gestation, when the delicate structures of the inner ear begin to form. Think of it as the hardware being installed. Then, between 18 and 20 weeks, the baby can start to sense vibrations, which is a precursor to actual hearing. The real magic begins at about 24 weeks. This is the milestone when the baby's ears are developed enough to actually start hearing sounds from the outside world. But it doesn't stop there. After 28 weeks, the baby's brain becomes much more active in processing these sounds. It's not just passively receiving noise anymore. Instead, the brain is actively learning, processing, and starting to form memories. At this stage, the baby isn't just hearing random sounds. Its brain is learning to identify and remember familiar patterns, laying the groundwork for a lifetime of auditory learning. Many people might imagine the womb as a quiet, peaceful bubble, completely silent and isolated from the outside world. But medically speaking, that's not true at all. The womb is actually a surprisingly noisy place. From the baby's perspective, it's constantly surrounded by a symphony of internal sounds. There's the rhythmic, steady beat of the mother's heart, the whooshing sound of blood flowing through major arteries, the gentle in and out of her breathing, and even the gurgling and rumbling of her digestive system. Among all these internal noises, one sound stands out as the strongest and clearest: the mother's voice. Why is that? Because her voice doesn't just travel through the air to reach the womb, it travels directly through her own body, her bones and tissues. This internal transmission makes it much clearer to the baby than any voices coming from outside. Furthermore, low-frequency sounds, which are characteristic of the human voice, travel very well through the amniotic fluid. This allows the baby to clearly perceive the unique rhythm, tone, and melody of its mother's speech. So, what makes the mother's voice so special to a developing baby? Medical research gives us some fascinating answers. Studies using brain imaging on newborns have shown that hearing their mother's voice activates specific areas of the brain, particularly those linked to emotion and language processing. There are a few key reasons for this powerful connection. First, the mother's voice is heard repeatedly, every single day. This constant repetition reinforces its pattern in the baby's developing brain. Second, her voice is emotionally meaningful. Even before birth, the voice is associated with the safety and comfort of the womb. The baby feels secure when hearing it. This constant reassuring presence helps the brain store the mother's voice as a familiar and trusted sound signature. This entire process has a scientific name: prenatal auditory learning. It's the baby's very first educational experience, learning the sound that will mean love and security for years to come. Let's dive deeper into how the baby's brain actually learns to recognize the specific voice. It's a process of pattern recognition. When the baby hears the same voice over and over again, its brain starts to pick up on the unique characteristics of that sound. It learns the specific rhythm of the speech, the variations in pitch, and the overall melody of the voice. Of course, the baby doesn't understand the words being said, but that's not what matters at this stage. What the brain is doing is creating a memory of how that voice sounds. Every time the mother speaks, neural connections in the baby's auditory cortex are strengthened. These pathways are being built specifically in response to this repeated sound. Think of it like carving a path in a forest. The more you walk it, the clearer it becomes. This process is called auditory pattern recognition, and it's what enables the baby to instantly recognize its mother's voice from the moment it's born. This incredible ability is hardwired into the brain before birth. The idea that a baby recognizes its mother's voice from the womb isn't just a heartwarming theory. It's backed by solid scientific studies and medical evidence. Decades of research on newborn behavior have provided clear proof of this phenomenon. For example, numerous studies have found that newborn babies consistently show a preference for their mother's voice over the voices of unfamiliar women. They become calmer and more settled when they hear their mother speak. Some studies even show that their heart rates become more stable, indicating a sense of relaxation and security. One of the most famous types of experiments involves a clever setup where a baby can control which voice it hears by changing its sucking pattern on a pacifier. In these controlled studies, newborns will actively adjust their sucking to hear a recording of their own mother's voice, and they will turn their heads toward a speaker playing that familiar sound. This proves that the recognition isn't learned after birth. The foundation was already built in the womb. A common question that follows is, what about the father's voice? Can a baby recognize its dad's voice too? The answer is yes, a baby can absolutely learn to recognize the father's voice or the voice of another close family member if that voice is heard frequently and clearly during pregnancy. However, there's a key difference. As we discussed, the mother's voice is transmitted internally through her body, giving it a distinct advantage in clarity and volume. The father's voice, like all other external sounds, has to travel through the air and then through the mother's abdominal wall and the amniotic fluid to reach the baby. This makes it more muffled and less consistent. Because of this simple physical reality, the mother's voice remains the primary and most familiar sound the baby knows. So while a father's voice can become familiar, the mother's voice is truly in a class of its own. Hearing all this, some expectant mothers might start to worry. What if I'm a quiet person? What if I don't talk that much during the day? Am I failing to provide enough auditory stimulation for my baby? Medical experts are quick to reassure parents that there is absolutely no cause for concern. Your baby's auditory development will proceed just fine without you having to talk constantly. The normal, everyday conversations you have with your partner, friends, or coworkers are more than enough. Even just the natural sounds your body makes provide a rich soundscape for the developing fetus. There is no medical requirement to constantly talk or read to your baby in the womb. The process of prenatal auditory learning happens naturally, so you can relax. Healthy auditory development is not something you need to stress about or actively manage. In conclusion, the powerful connection a baby shares with its mother doesn't just begin at the moment of birth. Medical science clearly shows us that this bond starts to form much earlier, deep inside the womb. Through the incredible process of prenatal auditory learning, a baby starts to learn and remember the unique sound of its mother's voice. This early recognition is not just a sweet sentiment. It plays a vital role in supporting emotional bonding, promoting calm and secure behavior after birth, and contributing to early brain development. It's a beautiful testament to how nature prepares a child for the world by first introducing it to the sound of love. Thank you for joining us at MedLifeLink, where we make medical science simple. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more educational content. We'll see you in the next video.